why do people feel they're going crazy during their spiritual ascension?
Okay, so first of all, let's understand what spiritual ascension is. For those people who do not understand spiritual ascension, biblically they spoke about ascension where, you know, when Jesus rose again, he rose up and he went into heaven. And so when people think of ascension, they think of this act, this physical act of going up. But what spiritual ascension is really the raising of your spiritual vibration. And we have had our spiritual vibration in steady state for many, many, many centuries. And so, you know, there are many factors, religious, political, and so on, that have kept us contained by this ceiling. Now, what is happening with spiritual ascension right now is that from a cosmic standpoint, our planet is going through a particular part of the solar system, the universe, that it has never been before. But all indigenous groups have known that it was about to happen. They knew it was going to happen. It was prophesied. And so we are going through a photon belt that is allowing our planet to be bombarded by more light frequencies than we've ever had hitting our planet. It is those light frequencies that's activating not just the planet, but all of us. So it is an external factor that is triggering the spiritual ascension. The light codes coming in are being picked up through our skin, through our auric field, and is creating the awakening that is now taking place. And I think everyone will agree that we are all somehow, some way, going through this awakening. So I want to use the words awakening and spiritual ascension interchangeably. So why is it so uncomfortable? It's uncomfortable because our physical body is being affected. Our heart center is being affected. It's being vibrated. Our organs are all being affected. Our brain chemicals are being affected. Everything is being affected. Most people go through this spiritual ascension or awakening process because of a trauma that they've experienced. So all of us are going through this ascension gradually and, you know, going through this process, and then something major happens in our life that I call it the cracking open of our hearts. And we think, you know, when your heart is broken, that's the end. No, when your heart is broken, that's when it can take in more love. All the love that's inside can get to pour out, but something happens. And even though it sounds like an expression to have your heart broken, it's actually a very real phenomenon. And so it is through the grief that we're now able to take in so much more love and energy and realization than we would if our hearts had not broken. There are very, very few people who have just got up one day and they were walking in their perfect life and then they just had this spiritual ascension. No. Usually it is something very traumatic that has to take place. And we all look at life in this way where we think, oh, why did that have to happen to me? This is so painful. Why? But the answer is it had to happen because it's a part of the process of awakening, of going into that other self that you cannot access except through feeling. And so sometimes we have to go through and feel things very deeply through pain to be able to get to that place where we're actually able to feel that we have something else apart from the pretty house and the pretty clothes and the pretty car and the perfect relationship that we have. Those things are very surface, very material. Sometimes you have to have a trauma that makes you feel the other parts of yourself that are there, that sometimes seem to go missing in action because our worlds are so stimulating. It's very stimulating, the exciting parties, the fancy trips, flying all over the world to see the different. We are looking outside and we're not able to look inside. So pain is a part of the process. And I know that sounds uncomfortable to the average person, but I have observed, and I've been observing for years now, and what I've observed is that the true awakening comes through the pain, through the suffering, through the trauma, through the breaking and the healing, the repair process. You know, so there are some people that are having their awakening through mental breakdowns that are not necessarily triggered by a trauma, but just by a life that is uncomfortable and becomes more and more and more uncomfortable until they have this complete breakdown. But what I have found and observed is that those mental breakdowns are actually an opportunity for you to awaken and have that spiritual ascension.
Let me hear you say,